Okay, good afternoon, General Cristal.
Good afternoon.
Can you just state your name and your title for the record, please?
My name is Alan Cristal. I am the CEO of the Screaming Eagles project.
Okay, and before you had this position at Hughes, General Cristal, what did you do before?
I was in the military.
And can you tell us about your career briefly?
Yes. I graduated from West Point in year 33, went through extensive training and schooling, and got out of the military in year 5, so that's 28 years? Yes, 28 years in the military, doing various things.
That's a long, distinguished career. Can you tell us like some of the things that you're mostly proud of during your military service?
Sure. The major thing is the death of Abu Musab al-Zakari, the leader of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. That has to be, obviously, the benchmark. Crown jewel, if you will.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about, so after you left the military, you started working at Hughes, correct?
Yes.
And what was your first position with Hughes?
I served as CEO of the S-70As project. They were a the beginning version of the Screaming Eagles, meant for both civilian and international military use.
And did you have any like issues or any problems during that time serving as the project leader for that project?
Not necessarily issues. There was a version before, I can't remember, I don't think it was this one, but there was a version before where there was some weight issues that affected the integrity of the cabin, but nothing, no major issues.
Okay, and the current project, if we may focus on that, can you tell me what the current project that we're discussing here and how your involvement was with that?
Yeah, the defense contract was for, I believe, 8 Screaming Eagles helicopters for the Mexican government in helping them aid against the cartel.
And what was your job or your duties involved with the project and?
I was a supervisor for the Mexico project, so I oversaw everything that had to do with that in the Mexico portion. Originally, how it would work is the cabins would be manufactured in Emory City. They would go through the testing there and then be shipped down to Mexico as part of the contract, and a lot of the accessory pieces would be added on.
Okay. And you had several people working with you on this project, right?
Yes.
And one of them was Juan Rodriguez, is that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell me about your relationship with Mr. Rodriguez?
Rodriguez and I had a pretty close relationship. He was the project supervisor, the first one at the time, and oversaw, he was kind of underneath me, if you will, and he oversaw the plant manufacturing at Mexico.
And so regarding the production of the Screaming Eagle helicopters, what was Rodriguez's functions in the project and your relation to that?
Say that again. Relationship to Juan?
What was Juan Rodriguez's job duties and your relation to the supervision of those duties?
Well, a lot of times, if a problem arose, I would let it to the project manager, which was Rodriguez. He was in the best position to know all the facts readily available to him and for him to make a determination.
And you relied and trusted Rodriguez for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And can you tell me, moving on to the contract for the contract in question here for the Screaming Eagle helicopters, are you familiar with the contract?
Yes, I am.
And did you know the requirements of the contract in relation to the testing?
Yes, I believe the contract called for Magnaflux testing of all flight critical components.
Okay, and are you familiar with what are considered flight critical components?
Well, throughout my 28 years in the military, several times dealing with aviation and things like that, flight critical kind of meant the integrity, what made the helicopter fly. So that would probably include the cabin, the rotors, the blades, things like that.
Okay. And was that all of these all of these parts to the helicopter were Magnaflex tested in the U.S.?
From my recollection, the cabin itself was tested in the U.S. I can't say for certain the blades were.
Okay. And regarding the when did you first learn that there was an issue with the timing of the production of the helicopters?
An issue with timing?
With, as far as there's a deadline in the contract, and there was an issue with being able to deliver them in time.
Okay, so Arroyo, the attaché to the Mexican government, he called me up and said the urgency of the situation is dire, that they definitely need at least one Screaming Eagle as soon as possible to have a strike back at the cartel. Otherwise, the government itself could be ruin its legitimacy.
Okay. And did you instruct at any time any of the employees, including Rodriguez, to cut any corners and not do the testing?
No, I never said don't do any testing. Rodriguez told me that when I told him about this, he told me that the fluorescent testing should be sufficient as the Magnaflex testing, since we didn't have the time to get all the other Screaming Eagles out the door.
And in no way specific you ever mentioned to not do any testing?
Correct.
Okay. No further questions.